What is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young, founder of appmasters.com. I was going through some settings and the little things I was like, look up, it's live. Welcome to the YouTube live stream. We're going to really break down how this indie app developer found traction, some of the ASO tricks he used to be like, oh, this kind of worked, and how he's turning this into a full-time gig. And so going to be sort of like a pseudo lessons learned as an indie app developer, and also a premium like live coaching call with yours truly. And so welcoming to the show is Luke Mimet. Oh, did I say that right? Mimet. Luke, you gotta have to correct me, man. Sorry, you go for it.
Yeah, Luke Mimet.
Mimet, yeah, Luke Mimet. He is the founder at Time of the app TimeFinder. And the app is right here as well. So go search for TimeFinder in your app store. It's a to-do list app. And we're going to break down all of Luke's strategy, how he's been able to find success, and the feedback that he wants to get from me as well. But welcome to the show, Luke.
Thanks so much, Steve. Glad to be here.
So start from the very beginning. I want to learn about the ASO trick that we talked about before we went live. But talk to me about the beginning of the journey. Why did you build this particular app?
Yeah, so back in college, I had this idea of, I really liked planning on paper, paper planners. You've just got a list of times on a piece of paper, and then you've got a master list of tasks. But having some like ADHD sort of OCD tendencies, I was constantly finding myself rewriting lists because I was unhappy with the fact that once you cross something out, it looks ugly. Or once you complete all of the things on a given list, you kind of want to, start over on a new page. But there was this constant shuffle of reconsolidating things that was wasting my time, for one thing, but also I looked on the App Store for something that did what I was looking to do, which was this same sort of paper planning methodology in an app, and it didn't exist. So that was back in 2016. I started the app in 2018 in an effort to just learn how to code. I'd always had an interest in software development, but I went to school for chemical engineering and never really had any exposure to that sort of thing. And I was looking for an outlet for that energy that I had in my life that I wasn't seeing in my day job. And so I worked on it from 2018 to 2021. In most of my free time. It started gaining some traction, but I really never thought of it as anything more than a hobby. It was never supposed to be a financial, a source of income. But I started recognizing that people were appreciating it, despite me not knowing or employing any marketing tactics or ASO strategies, which kind of brought me into exploring that sort of stuff, discovering your channel, and more than anything else, realizing that if I was going to make this work and see the potential of this app through, I was going to have to bring in some help so that I wasn't the only one developing the app and doing the marketing and doing the strategies, or I might lose the opportunity. Time is of the essence with these sorts of things. This opportunity didn't exist 10 years ago. I don't know if it's going to exist 10 years from now. So I started hiring some freelancers on Upwork to do the things that I was already doing all that time, things like development and bug fixing and stuff like that. And I just watched all your videos. I joined the App Masters Academy and watched all those videos. And I worked really hard on a new release, and I put it out all at once at the beginning of 2022. And with that, just like a light switch, my success, the number of subscribers, the number of users, the amount of revenue just went up tenfold, if not more, overnight, literally in January. And I couldn't say exactly why, but I could talk a little bit about the keyword thoughts that I went through, and just the fact that I think the algorithm just loves momentum and things happening all at once.
That was very interesting. That's amazing, dude. Congrats. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. And I know you recently went full time on this. And so we're going to really try to help you scale this even further. But talk to me. Let's break down the ASO strategies. I love that you stuck with it. You found some traction. You got some early users. You got their feedback, gave you more momentum. and then talk to me about the ASO changes that you made, and then we'll look at
Yeah,
the product too.
so sure. Well, for about 2 or 3 years, I didn't know anything about ASO, and I didn't think about it because I was always thinking about the app itself. I was thinking, oh, well, why am I going to work on marketing if the app isn't exactly what I want? Why am I going to market it if I feel like people are going to bounce and see it and not know how to use it, or they'll complain about it. So after I
Yeah.
got over that, which was partially just a mental confidence thing, but partially rooted in reality, I looked at my keywords and I recognized that I had picked keywords that I thought were the best fitting keywords for the app, and I just stuck with them. I was like, there's nothing
Mhm.
better than these keywords I've chosen. It's a daily
Like what?
planner,
Like
it's
what,
a schedule
Luke?
planner, it's a calendar. That's it. I don't
Mhm.
like as synonyms. I've looked in the dictionary. That's it. And then from watching your videos and being exposed to this whole idea, I realized that I was going for these, heavy hitter keywords, things with a ton of search volume, but a ton of competition. And so my app was pretty much not even on the map, which is why I got excited in 2021, because I was looking at my keyword rankings and they were like non-existent. I was like, if people are finding this, they're typing in like long tail stuff, like schedule planner that has a to-do list. Like they were scrolling to like the 30th entry in App Store. And so that's why when they found it, they were like, "Oh my God, this is it. This is how my brain works. This is the best thing
Yeah.
since sliced bread. Everybody's got to try this." But that doesn't matter because I didn't have any keyword rankings that were useful. Um, so I was like, okay, I need to start small. I need to go for some things that are much more niche. And I just looked at my app, what it was doing, and some of the principles that were behind it, which is it's a daily planner, but it's based on these principles of like time blocking or time boxing, if you will, which have been popularized in like productivity books and things of that nature the last couple of years. But I didn't even have time blocking in my keywords. I didn't have time. I didn't have blocking. I didn't have the compound word time blocking. And when I put that in there, instantly I had my first, top five, keyword rank, which to me was
Nice.
huge. Um, and so, yeah, I was still up against the guys who had been competing for that for a long time, but I had something that they didn't have, which is my app is very specifically suited just for that. And so
Mm.
at the time, I might have been just the only real app that was reasonably competing for that sort of keyword. So I went all in. I started updating all my screenshots, the description. I started, shuffling around and updating my metadata every couple weeks. And before I knew it, I had that top spot for a short while. I can't
Nice.
say I have it right now, but I might be number 3. And I've also got a slew of other keyword rankings in related sections just from trying all that.
Nice. Yeah. Congratulations, man. That's really, really awesome. And
Yeah,
I
thanks.
think, kind of something that you mentioned too before went live was, hey, maybe not going after those competitive keywords, right? When I'm working with new clients and I was always thinking through like, what can we rank for? How can we do massive keyword research and find out the keywords that we can actually rank for and that have lower difficulty that actually also makes sense with the app too, Luke? Those are the keywords I really want to target because I feel like let everybody else go after those big to-do list apps, all that jazz, but I'm going to focus on the keywords that nobody's really focusing in on. And then once I build up that traction, now eventually you can go after the to-do list, right? Like, or task manager, or whatever you want to do later on. But I feel like once you have that, you need that early traction. And then you need to signal to Apple, hey, this app is doing well, download wise and revenue wise too.
Another thing I found useful that kind of led into that explosion of momentum when I released the new version at the beginning of the year. Not the least, people in their New Year's resolutions are always looking for something that's going to help them achieve that. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of like seasonal keywords that I think go underappreciated in every industry. Like literally just put 2022 in front of your keyword. Like the competition for any of that was like 10 on out of 100 on App Radar. So like, you know, and I recognize that only through looking at my competitors' rankings and seeing what they were ranking for. And one of them was ranking for one variant of one of those things. But that, you know, I put that in there, and that was like a, you know, 25 search volume term or 30 search volume term, which was for me very significant for at least the first couple months of 2022. Other than that, I mean, yeah, just constantly looking at my competitors and saying, what are you ranking for? And are you ranking for anything that I am actually better suited for, that you just have because no one else is competing for it?
Yep, I love it. All right, let me say hi to a few people, and I want to ask you about some of the
Yeah.
product changes you've made too. Ollie, what's happening, man? You're the first one. I should probably give away something for the first people. Tony, we're gonna take the Air app later on. What's up, Joe? What's up, Luke? And then Amir. I'm gonna say Amir. Amnash. Tony says hi to you, Luke. Okay, didn't say hi to me.
Hey.
Fernando says hi, ma'am. And then Basar is here. Bianca. Hey, Bianca, if you haven't gotten my emails, I've sent it to you twice. Check your spam. Make sure it's there. I know we can get in touch too. Samuel's there. And then we got Hasta La Vista says the app looks very simple, cool to know that you're making a living out of it, Luke. So congratulations.
Sure. Yeah.
And Stefan says, hey guys. And then time management apps are in a competitive market, I think. And so I agree with you, Stefan, and I'm sure Luke, you agree too. But that's the beauty of what Luke is talking about, is like, you know, thinking through the ASO strategy a bit more without, don't give away all your secrets, Luke, but thinking through, hey, what are some terms that have lower competition that are in the, Luke, that's how I think about it too, the 20 to 40, let's say it's usually in the 20 to 30 range from a traffic score perspective, that have lower competition. How do I start ranking for those keywords first and slowly start building up from that? Because we have enough case studies where people are just making money with like minimal downloads. 15 downloads a day is all you need. So Luke, let's talk about the product side, and I can share my phone too, if there's anything that you want me to, but what maybe in 2020, and you said, was it 2022 or 2021? 2022 that you made all the big January 2022 big changes?
It was the beginning of this year. Yeah.
This year. Okay. So talk to me about some of the product changes that you might have made too.
Sure. So, back in the fall, I was working on just trying to integrate with everything that I could, for one thing. And well, I started with low-hanging fruit, which is the calendar, right? So I wanted to be able to pull in users' calendars into the app to be able to show that as kind of blocked off. And that's kind of my strategy going forward here is, you know, I made the app as good as I can within reason. I got most of the things that people were clamoring for via email and feedback requests. The final frontier is tying in with as many elements of the user's life as I can. Not the least because that gives me more keywords that I could target and things of that nature. But it makes the app stickier. It makes it easier to follow through and use it and be more productive, which is the whole point here, right? So I added that calendar sync function. I'm working on like a reminder sync function for the iOS reminders. And I really tried to polish and make the things that people expect to work all the time these days work, which for an indie app is pretty hard. For instance, like device sync across devices in real time and handling all the different circumstances there. People just take that for granted and expect it to work, but it was a tremendous undertaking to make that work perfectly. And so like, it was just like polishing things like that. And then all the marketing things that I ignored for so long, like my screenshots were garbage. I didn't have like any real text there. They were literally screenshots. And so I updated the screenshots, and you can see it on the Mac version because I haven't made a Mac video yet, but I made a preview video that I think really helped with conversions for the iOS version. And it's really engaging. It shows right off the bat what you're doing and, you know, the flow. And I think that all of that together just really helped. So by the way, on the Mac version, I think it has like 50 ratings, but yeah, you can see here, doing a little better on the iPhone version. I think the breakdown is like maybe 1 in 5 users or 1 in 5 downloads on the Mac version. And that was another thing, porting it over to the Mac with Mac Catalyst, that just provided an additional income stream and additional, like a lot of additional revenues without a whole lot of effort that I think a lot of apps don't seem to do.
Did you create this video by?
Yeah,
What did you use?
Final Cut.
Nice, nice. Okay. Did you have any experience with video editing at all?
Not a whole lot. It was really just taking, recording myself doing all sorts of things and then chopping it up and trying to find,
Nice.
how to deliver the key ideas right off the bat, which was not very
It
easy
looks
for
good.
me. Like, being immersed in the world of your app is not the way to pitch something. I had to go to a lot of different people and be like,
Mhm.
what do you see when you look at this? Or you've used it for a little while. What stands out to you as the key features or the key thing that's notable here? Yeah,
I love it. I like that. That's the best way. I always stop people, Luke, when they're trying to. I'm using their app, do a lot of these calls, right? And they're like, Steve, go here. Go. I'm like, stop. Like, don't say anything. Otherwise, you're not going to learn anything from me from this call. If you tell me how to use your app, let me
yep,
tell you what I'm trying to think about. But like, don't tell me how to use your app. I'll tell you I love the text. I think one of the things that we've been thinking about too, from a client perspective, is when we're using video, like having some text in there, because I think it only makes sense if you think about Instagram, like captions are super important, right? And so you having these elements of text in here in the video, super important to have. Build your schedule in 15 seconds. I love that, right? You have it's interspersed so it doesn't get boring, customize everything. And you're showing all the cool features. Like, this is really cool. The fact that you didn't have any experience with video editing or any of that stuff and you just did it on your own, really great job on the video side of things, man. I love it.
sure. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
let me get into some of the questions. The Bianca on this note asked, does Final Cut have a turnkey export for app preview in the yeah, that's a great question. In the App Store?
not quite, but how Final Cut works is the first media that you pull into the interface, it uses that as the basis for everything, for the resolution settings, for the aspect ratio. So really, once it's in there, you could chop and cut it up as much as you want, and you're already going to be in good shape. You could export it as is, and Apple will take it. Apple's pretty picky about
Mm,
certain elements. There's certain things you can't show, and you want the feel to be consistent. If I just take a screen recording from my iPhone, there's going to be all sorts of, like, my battery is showing that it's dead, or like the top has like the recording indicator in the top. There's all these
right.
little silly things that you have to like work around in order to produce something that really looks high quality. So that involves just like literally a rectangle that's white, and you're putting that over the thing that's saying you're recording, like little things like that. Um,
Mm. Good point.
you know,
Yep. I love it. All right, let's get into some of the questions. And I want to ask you about if anything on the paywall side, did you change anything? Ram asks, can you elaborate on the momentum thing? I
sure.
want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, so I had it open here before, but in my impressions and my downloads in App Store Connect, you could see it was like a light switch, and I didn't do anything magical to make that change happen. I mean, I had been at the beginning of the year is when I released the new version and everything, but I had been playing with ASO and keywords for a few months in anticipation of this. I wanted to try what I was learning and really climb the ranks, and it did, and it helped, and it showed. I went from pretty much no rankings to several, top 5 rankings, I mean. But when I released it all at once, really what I was striving for, maybe it was a little naive, I was hoping that Apple might consider me to be featured on their store.
Mhm.
And so I submitted the application. I gave them all the marketing materials. I had said, hey, it's a major update, which it was, and I've got all this new marketing material, and I had added some localizations. I had translated the app into a couple of different key languages.
Nice.
But ultimately, I just released the new version, and like that, overnight, it kind of blew up. And so part of that was like, I had improved the paywall, I had improved the onboarding experience, but I didn't do anything in particular that made sense to me to call for all those additional impressions that I was getting. It's one thing to have higher conversions. It's a totally different thing to have, 10x downloads overnight. So that I can only talk about momentum because maybe it was just the fact that it was January and people were, productivity apps were in vogue in that moment, like they always are every year, or something else. But the impressions and the traffic remained to this day. That's all I can say.
I love it. I want to touch on this a little bit, Luke, because I feel like momentum, especially as an indie developer, as somebody who's just starting out, momentum can be anything. Literally, it's that first email, it's that first interaction with somebody. I know when I first got started with the podcast in 2013, it was just hearing from somebody, anybody, that it was actually somebody was listening, right? For me, it was getting that first client that wanted to hire me, even though I was very upfront. I said, I don't know anything about marketing back then. But he's like, look, I trust you. You seem like genuine. I want to still hire you. So it's these small little things that eventually add up and snowball into something bigger. And look, you kind of said it in the very beginning. It was just like, I got some emails. I got people getting feedback. Like it was working, even though my ASO sucked. Like people were actually finding my app and finding it useful. And then I tried some ASO and I started ranking well. And so I was like, all right, let me keep building on this momentum. And then it sort of snowballs into a bigger thing. So I would say to the indie app developers out there who might be struggling, like use any little win. No win is too small to start building that momentum because it eventually will add up. You won't know it now, but you'll eventually feel it. And looking back on my sort of journey, I kind of think like, oh man, that really helped out. And I'm obviously very loyal to the people that were there from the very beginning that were just like, all right, Steve, I'll trust you in this thing and join you in this journey as well. Cause I was just learning in 2013 myself. All right. Captain Michael says, I love his authenticity. You say it and honesty. So it's good.
Appreciate it.
All right. Captain Michael did say, hey, how did you manage to gain the first 100 to 1,000 users?
Sure. So when I released version 1, that was really pretty similar to what you see. It just wasn't polished. And so I put it out there. I had my own little celebration at my home because
Nice.
I had gone back and forth and gotten rejected like a dozen times because I had never done this before, and I was just learning from like YouTube and Udemy and stuff like that. But I finally got it accepted on the App Store, and I was like, wow. And I don't know, very slowly, people were scrolling all the way through the App Store somehow and taking a chance on this. And a lot of it was just people who have very specific interests, very specific ideas of how they want to manage their time. And it wasn't like I had done something in some amazing way. It was what I was delivering was exactly how they envisioned these tasks being managed in their head or on paper or what have you. So yeah, it was pretty sparse. I mean, I would share my screen and the conversion or the impressions and stuff like that, but it really wasn't much to talk about for a long time. And it wasn't supposed to be. I wasn't planning on anything there. It was just my little side project. It started, I followed a tutorial for a to-do list in the beginning. Like the to-do list element is not fancy. It's not special. It's a to-do list. It was the integration and pairing everything together and polishing it to perfection that makes a difference.
So another Luke asks, hey, Luke, only if you feel comfortable sharing, how many downloads per day are you hitting? And is Sensor Tower accurate with your revenue? So you share whatever you feel like you're comfortable
Yeah.
sharing, Luke.
I don't own Sensor Tower. I haven't looked at the free version in a long time. I do have App Radar. So I can't speak to that, but I could say that for the longest time, I was probably making less than $100 a day, a week. And for a long time, much less than that. I was joking that the Apple developer subscription had put me in the red for like the first 3 years. But in the end, up into the day, I'm comfortable sharing. There's pretty much about 1,000 downloads a week, and the conversion rate on that from a download to subscription is like 3%, and that nets me about $1,000 a week.
Nice. Congratulations, man. I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
All right, Stefan, thank you. This channel is pure gold. It's only because people like Luke are willing to share some of this stuff with me as well. Ram, what kind of marketing are you using, Luke, besides just ASO?
Good question. I've definitely explored different things, but I was finding that at least the bottom line, I think my paywall is the low hanging fruit and the obstacle here. So it didn't make sense to really throw money at ads per se until I figure that out and make that as good as it can possibly get. That's just my approach here. For instance, like App Store, Apple search ads, I dabbled with that a little bit, tried different keywords, different broad stuff, specific stuff, but I wasn't seeing that wasn't profitable. And so I know the end game doesn't need to be profit per se. There's something to be said about just having more people exposed to your app or having momentum behind certain keywords. But for me, knowing that my paywall has things that can be improved upon, I kind of pulled back from that, and I pulled back from some other things I was looking at, which was like ads on like TikTok or Instagram. And I'm totally interested in getting back into those sorts of things, but not until I'm really, really happy with how the paywall is and works.
Agree with you. I've worked with plenty of clients that have tried to scale, spend a lot of money, scale fast, and then had to like shut everything down because they went too fast. Always of the mindset of the slow and steady. All right. What's happening, Kevin? Good afternoon. I'm curious about this too. What's the stack that you use to build the app?
Yeah, Swift, pretty much. Swift, storyboards, auto layout. Swift UI, I don't think was around. If it was, it really wasn't much to talk about in 2018. And I didn't know any better for a lot of things. So the other element is in the beginning, I was really just piecing together as many third-party libraries as I possibly could. It was a total mess. But it was fun. It felt like playing with Legos. I was the Swift developer trying to like piece together all these different pieces of different ideas that other people had built that were good in a disastrous way that was not sustainable, but it looked good and it worked. So part of having those freelancers come in was resolving and rectifying a lot of technical debt and improving the architecture in such a way that I didn't need to pay developers so much to do little things just because they were dealing with my mistakes.
I like it. Okay. I think we answered this question. Awesome. Luke says, thanks for sharing that stuff. And then Michael, you got a fan, Luke? I'll definitely download his app and subscribe to it.
Yeah.
And then he even
Appreciate
said,
it.
Mike, God recognizes sites and artists for some of the icons you use. All right. That's awesome. All right. We got Adrian. Can I ask what you're using for revenue analytics? Firebase, Revenue Cat, App Store Connect?
All three. So yeah, Revenue Cat is a wonderful thing. Probably what I look at most of the time. And I only started using that at the beginning of the year because one of the big features, I know I didn't rattle them all off because I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but now that you brought it up, I've moved it from a single in-app purchase to a subscription
Nice.
model. And so that's when I implemented Revenue Cat. Probably use that more than anything else. But the backend's Firebase. I use Cloud Firestore for everything. Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Shall we get into the app?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Love the first screen. Top notch. Remind people why you're here.
For sure.
Okay. Luke, how did you come up with the pricing? $20 a year.
So originally it was $7 one-time lifetime payment, and that was it. But that was back when I had even fewer things to sell, so to speak. I think at one point I had ads in the app, but really the only reason I had them was as a deterrent to make people have some reason to give me money. Because it's nice to ask for money and say, oh, you're supporting development. But honestly, if you're trying to really make anything sustainable, At least I found. Maybe it was my paywall, but that wasn't really working out. So as far as the pricing goes, I tried a couple things, but I gravitated towards the $20 for the annual, and honestly, a rather overpriced monthly just to drive people to the yearly, like you advocate.
Yeah.
And it does the job. I haven't done nearly as much testing and optimization as I would like, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. Right now is the turning point. I've got a million ideas, and finally, I've recouped some of my investment from the freelancers last year that I'm willing to kind of go all in and pull out all the stops, try all these things, try the pricing, find the right, everything. But this is what I've had since the beginning of the year.
Love it. Okay. So the only thing I would say is the onboarding feels a little too short. I think if you already understand what your users are loving about the app, remind them, like, I think I would highlight, add at least two more onboarding to just be like, team up a little more, right?
Sure.
Daily planning made simple. Maybe they love the color coded tasks. Maybe they love the time blocking. You rank really well for time blocking. So maybe that's a benefit. So just I would say two more slides that talk about the benefits and even like talk about a premium feature, right? Calendar sync. I'm sure that is the thing that most people sign up for, or cloud backup, whatever it is. And then with iPad, Mac, I'm sure that's a key thing that people want too. So like, I would have two more screens. That first one was phenomenal, but then I wasn't expecting to see a paywall right after that. It felt too immediate for me, right?
I totally
The
agree.
paywall
Yeah,
looks really phenomenal. If I had to, I love top stuff. This is really great. I love that you're leading with all the benefits to this too. The I love this because this almost feels like, wow, just squeeze money out of me. It really feels that. I love that it looks like monthly has no trial, but the yearly does have a trial. So good
right,
move there. I'm going to assume most people are signed up for the year,
right.
but everything else is really good. But I don't have anything else besides that, adding a couple of more screens to the onboard too. And then Luke, you
Sure.
could even ask, like, one of the things could be like, hey, what are you most interested in? And it could highlight some of your features. So it's a win-win, meaning one, you engage the user kind of feels like your personalized experience. Two, you get data. Are you here for importing, syncing? Are you here for the color coded task, the time blocking? What's more interesting to you of all the features you have? So it's one way of highlighting all the benefits of the app and also getting the feedback from the users, because then you can grab that copy and be like, wow, 70% of my users love the time blocking element. So let me really play that up a little bit more too. And it
For
looks
sure.
like
Yeah,
I really
really.
like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, really good feedback. And there's a couple things that also stand out to me that I haven't done that I'm excited to try and get back to you about. One, in the App Master Academy videos, you had like a video, I think it was 7 or 8 like conversion tips for a paywall. It was
Mhm.
like, show instant value, create a sense of urgency. Like there is no sense of urgency here. So I'm excited to see what happens when I put some element of that in here, whether that's like a discount for the first 24 hours or like something that might pop up later and be like, hey, this is just for you. There's none of that right now, and I
Mhm.
think that's a really powerful thing that I'm not doing. So I'm optimistic about the outlook on that for the conversion.
So one of the things I will say is the things that I look at the most of metrics, and I think these are the most important, are install to paywall views. That's what I want to see. So like first open to paywall views, whether it's Firebase or whether it's Mixpanel, I want to see these numbers to make sure that almost 99% of the people that install and open my app see this paywall, right? Then you can figure out what your conversion rate is on this particular page. I'm going to hit X
Hmm.
real quick for this. And so one thing that I love all the promotion stuff. Okay. And I will tell you after the call some of the things that we've been testing out on our end too that are going to hit the academy as well. Mm,
Sure.
let's see. So I'm going to do this real quick because I like doing this. All right. Yeah. Love the promotion on second open. I've been trying to promote that a little bit more. I don't have any data. I have some data actually, I should say.
Okay.
So the thing that's missing, and maybe you're going to hit me with a feature lock, but the thing that missing from this is like a way to upgrade again, because most people
Mhm.
upgrade during the onboarding flow, but that's number 2 spot is this homepage, Luke. And so
Sure.
like you're making it really comfortable for me, but also make it uncomfortable because eventually you need people to pay you, right? So
Sure.
I think what I would try to do is add some messaging on here. It looks really clean that allows me to upgrade again.
Yeah, for sure. I think a banner would look good there. Something that says
Let's
like,
go.
"Hey, your calendar isn't synchronized. Hit, tap here to check it out."
Okay. I like this. What are some ideas you had that we can
Going
talk through?
forward, or like regarding like new development, or like what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You said, "Hey, I want to test out a couple of things so I can go all in." Are there things on top of your mind that you want to talk about,
Yeah.
or any questions that
So
you had for me?
for sure, I think definitely improving like adding a couple slides in the beginning would be helpful. In general, when you land on that schedule page, it's kind of like a blank slate. I wanted to make that a little bit more of a, like, show a little tutorial in the schedule. I think that might be nice. Kind of just like throw some dummy
Mhm.
tasks into the schedule and be like, you can click on this, and stuff like that. But also, I think there's a lot of different things I could do, like trying to pull the user back in for the purpose of like holding themselves accountable for certain things. For instance, like a daily reminder, like saying, "Hey, you didn't plan your day for tomorrow,
Mm.
or you've been checking off all these things on your list, but you didn't check these ones off. Do you want to like schedule those for tomorrow?" So kind of like a push notification um, strategy, but also maybe just schedule notifications if it's been a couple days or something like that. On top
Mhm.
of what you're saying, which is show the paywall more often and find ways to, uh, if not show the paywall, just show things that are indicating that, like, hey, there's more to this app than what you're seeing here. I think that
Yeah.
could be really helpful. Little calls to action throughout the app.
Yeah, I like how you do here, let's go through this really quick too, because I've
Mhm.
seen other people do it where one of the tabs is a paywall tab, right? Like
Sure.
it's locked. So maybe thinking through some of these features that could eventually be locked.
Yeah.
So I might try that out. And then I actually like this view the best. I don't know, right? Like I would ask your users because especially as a new user, like I want to see this versus a clean slate. So like even if you had some things here like that just gets you going, I almost want something. I like this view better, right? Like I like this. It's and then Luke, we talked before, right? Because
Yeah.
this looks all familiar to
Many
me.
months
Okay,
ago, yeah, we had talked
okay,
very briefly about the UI of this. We had a short call,
yeah.
and so,
I, f-
but you didn't mention
I
that
feel
one.
like
That's a good one.
it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot to look at. I would rather you key in on a few things. So I'll tell you exactly what I think are pretty cool, right? I would probably limit it to 3 or 5 is a good number. And I think what's really cool is boom, being able to do that. It looks really that time blocking is cool, right? Like, hey, just go down. So one task that does that, one task that just drag me over to your spot, and then you have
Hmm.
an existing task already. Like, hey, the task is hit the blue button. You can to expand the task, right? And then now it's like it expands it. Now another this one could be swipe left to delete, but I know I can swipe to delete here too. And so I really love those things. And I think that's enough, right? Like I think it's enough for you to get going because I don't
Yeah,
need all
yeah,
this because
that's
then
a good
eventually I'm
point.
going to want to delete all your crap anyways.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great
Okay.
great point. And likewise, landing on this page rather than the schedule view, that makes a lot of sense. At least at the first open.
Yeah, at least the first open. Yeah, I like it. Cool. And then there are some things that I will for Luke for these things. See, we got to be better. We got to be better about making things a little bit uncomfortable for people. All right, let me get to some questions. Anything else you want to cover on the app?
Not right now. Maybe I'll think of something as questions are asked.
All right, let's get into some of these questions. Luke, do you engage in Twitter indie developer community with the famous hashtag build in public?
No, I haven't. But I'll have to look into that.
Okay. Okay. Are you planning to expand to Android?
If and when the opportunity shows itself to be good, then yeah. Right now, I mean, I started with iOS 1 because most of what I have is Apple, but also I continued with iOS and I went all in because I believed that there was a little bit more potential in terms of revenue for the effort that I was putting in. Obviously, you could talk about cross-platform, frameworks and things like that. But
What's
at
the
this
most
point,
popular to-do list app?
I would really only cross that bridge. Probably, well, it depends. I mean, as far as like a to-do list, maybe something like AnyList or like Todoist are two of the biggest ones. There's other apps in my like industry. There's one called TimeBlock, which is built with a cross-platform, like a Flutter or something like that. But ultimately, I think that I would only cross that bridge if I was making like a couple $100,000 a year or something that was really significant to me to justify that. Because right now, like I really want to prove out the iOS version before I get too ahead of myself.
Yeah, I agree. So I wouldn't worry about the Android version at all. And I just asked you because I wanted to see this. Right, look at these revenue. Oops, yeah, wrong one, wrong screen. If you look at these revenue numbers, you can see like TickTick. It's a very popular to-do list app. 100,000 on iOS, only 30,000 on Android. And if you look at, I had Todoist, so 200,000, and on Android it's only 70,000. So look, Android people just aren't going to pay as much as iOS. So what's the point if we're trying to earn money, be scrappy, profitable? Mutual friend, also in the academy, Rich, he's like, look, I'm only on iOS. He's like, I'm not doing anything on Android. All right, Luke, let's get into part 2. And we'll take a look at your apps, the audience's apps too, and give them feedback. So if you guys want us to take a look at your app, just go to appmasters.com/audit, appmasters.com/audit. We do have a premium version on there too. So if you want to sign up for an hour and do a private call with me, you can do that. But just the free stuff will get you on a future live stream as well. So oh, Luke, let's go, man. I know you got it. I know you're prepared. Start off every app audit with some dad jokes. So you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first. All right.
Okay.
Where do generals keep their armies?
Where do generals keep their armies?
Yeah.
Where?
In their sleeveys.
Sleeveys? Generals?
Yeah, army
Right.
sleeveys, arms.
Oh, got it. Okay. That took me a while. All right. A simpler one. What do you call a 5-year-old's to-do list?
I no idea.
A playlist.
Wow.
There you go. All right, put L if you thought Luke's joke was better, and then put S if you thought my joke was better. And then they got it. Samuel got it. Tony got it a lot faster than I did. Okay. And for Ricardo, I got your question. I will get to it in part 2 as well. So let's look at Raul's app, acquire new users. So I try to pick out some apps that were applicable to your industry too, Luke. But this is a post cover maker type of app. Anything that you want to lead off with? It's an Android only app too.
Looks good. Looks like there's a lot going on in the screenshots. Not necessarily a bad thing, but my eye is drawn to all these different logos. Create design for any social media.
I'll open
Okay,
it up.
so this is for like a Facebook cover photo, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Or like
looks like
on your
that.
website.
Well, it looks like it's for social media. So, YouTube has its own little cover image. So does TikTok. So maybe it's more of the background image, and I'm assuming social the profile picture too. That's what I'm
Sure.
sort of assuming here. And,
One kind of thing that comes to mind when I look at something like this with a lot of photos is there was an Apple like keynote or whatever you want to call it, a presentation about all of the different custom product pages and how you can localize them for different markets. This looks like a
mhm.
perfect opportunity to do that. With TimeFinder and a productivity app, there's not quite so much of an opportunity or potential benefit to that from my perspective. I'm sure there is, but for this, it's obvious. Like if you could show people who look like themselves, or show things that are specific to certain regions. Like I'm sure people in the United States have much different cover photos than people in the UK or in China or whatever. If you could do that and show people, reflect back what they're looking for. One is like the search intent, right? You want to regurgitate
Yeah.
those keywords that people are searching for so they can see like, yes, schedule planner, that is what I want. But also if you can show them photos that are what they're looking for, they'll be like, yes, this is exactly what I need. And they download it before even reading anything.
Yeah. And Raul, what I would say too from an ASO perspective is like, look, you're going after post, banner, cover maker, just pick one. Like you're so new, you only have 50 downloads. Pick one in the early days, kind of like what Luke referenced earlier too with the keywords that he chose. It's like you pick one, you go in on that, start building some traction, get some ranking for that. And maybe Luke, one of the things I learned from you is maybe like, hey, try to find some low competition keywords that there's enough, like 2 or 3 of them where you're in the top 5, and that signals to Apple like, hey, something's happening here. And then it gets all the other keywords moving a little bit more. So you correct me if I'm wrong, but that's sort of how I'm thinking about the success that you've had with the keyword side of things. So that's what I would try to do, Raul, on your end is use keywords that make sense. So whether it's like Instagram cover maker, you know, cover maker for LinkedIn, find the one that feels a little bit more oriented to what your app does, and then focus in on that, and then slowly start expanding out. So,
To piggyback off that, when I look at things like the screenshots, I think 80-20 rule. Like there's probably like one or two things that people are like really searching for and they're really looking for. So you've got a lot of different features here. And trust me, I understand that everybody can appreciate different features. I've got a bunch of little features in my app and I want to talk about all of them all the time. But the fact of the matter is there's like one or two that people are looking for. And if you have that bold and that is the first screenshot, or maybe the first 2 screenshots, and you really just say like, this is what you're looking for, I think that makes a big deal.
I think in the app side of things, like we do want an app for a specific task or thing to do, right? Like rather than having, I think too many times we build an app that's for everybody and doing all these features and all that. But like, for you could just like block calendar sync done. That's all we do, right? Like, and obviously it's a to-do list app still, but those are the main features and that's it. And then slowly start expanding out, like start trying to create the end all and be all for everybody too. So take a look at this photo. Oh, let's see what they have on the video side of things. All right. I'll repeat it again, but I'm sure for those who've been on these live streams a little bit, for this video, one of the things that concerns me, Raul, is that you might also like is this means that your ASO sucks. Like, what is this? Food and cosmetic scan color note. They're not even similar to what these cover maker apps should be. So think about that a little bit and why your ASO is suffering there. This one again, graphic design app, social media post maker. Look, pick one and go all in on that particular keyword. Graphic design, you're battling with Canva. Social media, you're battling with Canva again and other apps that are already built their business and spending a lot of UA money. So pick a low competition keyword and click on that particular keyword. Have it in the title. Have some tags in the YouTube. Think of it as like the iOS tags or what you might want your long description. And so whether it's a YouTube thumb, I've worked with people, I've seen apps like this that do pretty decently with just being a YouTube thumbnail maker. And that's all they do. right, Raul? And so you're trying to be everything to everyone, and what you end up being is nothing to no one with these 50 downloads. So start with that first and foremost is what I would do. All right, let's get that real quick, Luke, before we run out of time.
All right, you go.
Okay. I don't mind this, but it's also like a reminder of what this app does again. Create it for any social media. Have your paywall on this. I know it's Android, but still, like you should have it. With Android, you might want to put some banner ads here too. So we talked about this. I'm an expert on this, Luke, but like the app open, there's an AdMob app open ad format now that you can start utilizing because you're Android, Raul. Start utilizing that ad format because I do think it's going to help your conversions. Because more people are probably going to want to watch ads on Android versus paying you a subscription, which let's see, you have. All right, so go through this. I almost feel like it'd be more interesting to see all the social media, kind of like Canva, like, hey, this is social media. Here's which social media platform are you most interested in? Or do you want to create a profile picture or a cover or a post versus just seeing all these? Like it feels, I don't know, like wasted space up here. What you got, Luke?
This was the very first thing you saw when you opened it, right?
Yeah, that was.
Okay, so my first response would be just like the product page is supposed to kind of reinforce what they're searching for. I had a discussion with an Apple design developer advocate, and they hammered that home even more. It goes for the product page, it goes for the landing page when you first open the app. You want to pretend that the user doesn't even remember downloading the app. They have no idea what it is. And so they open it up and they look at it for a minute and they might be like, okay, oh, these are templates. Like you want to shout back at them what they are looking for. What are they looking for? They're looking to create appealing cover art for their different social profiles. So you have a lot of great things in your product page. Pull that in and reinforce and reflect back at the user. Hey, this is why you downloaded the app. Look at all these cool things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps a lot. And then they'll have something in mind, and then they can dive into the interface. But they're not just thrown with an interface, and they have to like catch themselves and be like, "What am I doing here?"
I don't know what this size means either. Like I thought I was figuring out the size of the text, but when I hit size, it's like, what? Oh, now, so it looks like it's an error. I don't know how this circle. So when I'm in the text, hit text, so I can change the text, but then I hit size. I don't know what this is all about. I have no idea what this size means, Raul. If you're just gonna have one thing underneath the more, just move it over, bro. Like, don't have both. More should have a list of things underneath and not just one thing. like, like what? More, and then all I see is one thing underneath the more.
Yeah,
All right.
unless it's maybe because of the smaller device size. Maybe on a big device he was testing on, that like it showed all five or something.
Nah, you're too nice. I'll be mean. All right. And it looks like it has no monetization. Look, and Chad Moretta said this back in the day, and some people can agree or disagree with this. My mindset is Chad's mindset is, hey, get those 1,000 users, see what they love about the app, get those good reviews. I am of the other way where I want to monetize early. I want of those of 1,000, how many people are buying? I want that data because data is important to me. I appreciate love, but data is more important. So I'm of the mindset if you can monetize as early as possible because it does help. Like if you built a good product, you should be proud of it. And so you try to monetize because cash flow is super important. Now, I think there's also a nice blend between the two, between trying to give away a lot of features because maybe it builds goodwill, people start sharing it on social media. And so you want that too, but also like you want data. And so I'm of the mindset that like now, Luke, I'm thinking about like more intent based conversions versus being a more time based. So like what you have is locking features, that is interesting there. But like for other apps I've seen where they'll do like you have 7 days to use it. So this is their freemium feature. You unlock the premium stuff, all premium within 7 days. I don't want to do that anymore. I'd rather do more like, hey, if I'm going to lock all the features, I'd rather give you an opportunity for you, for example, would be like have 3 tasks, 10 tasks, right? And then I'll lock you out versus giving me 7 days to try out all the features for free. Give me 3 tasks that I can use all the freemium features and then lock me out and ask for the paywall. I don't know if that makes sense.
For sure. Yeah, that's one metric
Cool.
I
All right, well,
haven't looked into. That's one metric I haven't looked into very heavily, but I want to set it up so I can track it, which is I don't actually know how many of my users, my regular users, like aren't subscribed. Obviously I could track subscriptions, but I don't, there might be, maybe 80% of the users of my app aren't using a subscription. To me, that's problematic because obviously I'm trying to make this a sustainable thing. If that's the case, I need to do a lot more like taking basic features and kind of locking them down in some capacity or something like that. But I don't have that metric. I think that that's something not a lot of people really talk about. That is probably a low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's take a now on to more important task. Let's take a look at who won the dad joke round. All right, Samuel said, "How dare you, Samuel?" Bianca, thank you, Bianca. Look, I'll tally it up really quick, but you won, Luke, 6-2. All right, thank you guys for voting. Miguel, I'm always late, dang meetings. Sorry, Miguel. You could always watch the replay. All right, Luke, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first for round 2?
You can go ahead.
All right. What is on a spine surgeon? What is on a spine surgeon's to-do list? Get back
No
to
idea.
work.
Get back to
All right.
work. All
I
right.
found my
All right.
jokes are on a theme, Luke.
That was a good one. You do have the theme on lock. This is not themed. What did Sushi A say to Sushi B?
What?
Wasabi.
All right, you win. I remember that joke. Well, I don't remember that joke, but I remember that commercial. I like that one. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. We've got another app. It's Anton, but it's not really Anton. Let me pull it up real quick. I want to know who that person. Tony. All right, Tony. I don't know why it said Anton on the email on the form, but maybe they're a team. All right, Tony, we got to yours, brother. Here it is. So, whoops, Tony. How dare you pick so early, Adriana? I think you already won. All right. Put L if you thought Luke's joke was better, which it was. I'll put L myself, frankly. All right, Tony, let's take a look at his. Hi, Stephen team. I love your content. Recently, I launched a fitness app, and I do believe that people will enjoy it if they give it a go. I've not done any promotional campaigns yet since literally, and Tony did do a big update. I don't know if Tony if was in line because you knew the app was going to be featured, but I'm glad you did. I have the newest. My question is, should I focus more on social media marketing as well as affiliate programs? And should I spend any more money on iOS ads? I spent a good month learning about ASO and testing different ideas about keywording, names, etc. However, my knowledge is not enough to climb the steep ladder in the App Store. So I was wondering if any advertising there would be good help since the competition is so large. My budget is nothing compared to the big boys. I know that you guys are quite busy, so I'll understand if you don't have time to check out my app, but I will still watch your content. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. All right, cool. And then it goes on. But all right, go ahead, Luke. I'll let you lead it off.
Sure.
What are you seeing?
I like the screenshots. Yeah, I think the screenshots are good. I think you've got keywords in there, AI workout coach. I don't know how many people are going to be looking for AI, but I get that conveys the purpose of the app. There's something to be said for that. 5 to 15 minutes. I don't think that's something that many people are going to look for. So I think AI workout coach is enough intent. I would try to personally probably fit some more intent keywords in that subtitle. That's what jumps out at me.
Yeah. Right here, Tony, it's like, what is your niche? right? I don't know what you're going after. You say you don't have the budget. Here's how I feel. If you got the budget, I've worked with bigger clients who have the crappiest ASO, but rank really well for a lot of big keywords because they have so much budget and they're running a lot of Facebook ads, right? And they're just driving the download. So part of the algorithm is revenues and download velocity. If you've got no downloads, you do not have a big budget, you really need to be niche, right? And you need to focus in on what is your niche. Just doing at-home training, AI workout coach, that's not enough, Tony. Like, what are you? Are you, I don't know, I don't want to give away any secrets, but like, give me one more, like ab workout, butt workout. These are all arms workout. These are all terms that I know have decent volume, but you need to be more niche than just be so broad right now. And your screenshots are look like anybody else. So you are going up against the big guys. And I don't know what makes you quite different from all the big guys. So if you want to compete with the big guy, have a big budget. But if you're trying to be an indie developer and be scrappy and bootstrap, then you need to figure out what your niche is and figure out what people are searching for, what has in the 20 to 30 traffic search score and has lower competition that you can start ranking well for too. So that's how I would really key in on this. And if it's like free 5 to 7 minute apps, maybe it's that 7 minute app thingy, right? Like maybe you need to go after that. I know like people challenges too. So there's like 28-day challenge, 30-day challenge that have pretty decent keyword volume and lower competition. So maybe you can start off with that too. So like really do keyword research. That's how we're starting to build apps. Luke, is think about the keyword, think about where I can rank with it. I'm going to be sharing this in the academy soon. I want more case studies to kind of be like, okay, I feel strongly that this would work too. But that's how I'm starting to think about it. Like, rather than being like, what's a good app idea? I'm like, what's a good keyword that could turn into an app idea? But
Sure.
anyways, all right, we got some questions too. Let's get into the app and let's help out Tony as well. So Dan, I guess let's, I know I didn't answer all the training from outdoors, design each workout. Okay, next. Who are the professionals is what I want to know. And if there's social proof behind the professionals, like social media following, anything like that, like go on top of that. This feels kind of long. I don't like these. What if I'm neither? I'm not trying to lose weight or burn fat. So I don't know. For me, I'm not trying fitness level. Just pop this up. I saw I don't think I have it on this phone, but I tweeted this out. But Be Real has a pretty cool
Luke
notification
Mimet
prompt, and I would go that. So check out my Twitter thing on that Twitter stream. And Luke left us for a little bit. Now he's back. All right. So just show this pop up. And then I would say move this little text up here so that it's visible up here, and then allow for that. So just hit. So you can move this text, but just show this pop up without having me tap allow, Tony, and then just move the text so that I can still read it and be like, hey, let's remind you when blah, 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 whatever you have right now. Jump in anytime, Luke.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the double opt-in, not the best. So that's an easy fix. I think this is good. This is a nice interface for walking through, getting the information from the user. They might be a little impatient and want to learn more about the app before providing all of this. So there's always that possibility of maybe showing like an X in the corner or like a demo first. But I could see why you might want to have this from every single user too.
Okay.
This looks nice.
Yeah. Dude, if I was 130, that'd be nuts. All right, create account. Okay. What's going to hide? Oh, man. I don't mind this. Okay. It's kind of funky, Tony. Like, I don't mind. I like this. 3 months for $10, really cheap. Get me in. Yeah, and then every 3 months it's three. I like this. It just felt clunky. I was expecting to see that paywall, and then I saw like your homepage and your programs first. But I do like this thing here. I think the only thing I might be testing if I were you, I don't know what Tony, if you're in here, like if your conversion data here is solid, then I'll keep it. But I'm curious to see how a trial would do. But I really love this promo. 3 months for $10. I love this. I'm gonna take a screenshot. Love how
I
it
will
sees
say
that too.
that's the sort of thing that Apple might approve, but then one of these days you're going to do an update. You know, maybe you're not changing anything. Maybe you're just changing ASO keywords, but they're going to reject it and start saying you need to be more upfront about what exactly happens after that 3 months. Like when you click that, I didn't expect it to be an auto renewing thing like it was.
Oh,
It just depends on who you when you go through the App Store review. Because I've had urgent bug fixes that I wanted to put out, and then the reviewer had a bad day, and they're like, "Hey, you need to fix this subscription thing," and I'm like, "I haven't changed that in 6 months. It doesn't matter. You're screwed." So
yeah. It just depends. I don't even try to figure out what Apple's going to do. I think it just depends on the reviewer
true.
anyways. So it's kind of like it is what it is. It's just Apple being Apple. I'm going to try second open. Yeah, I think it's another opportunity to. Okay, good. You do pop it up. Good. I don't know why there's so much of a delay. Maybe it's better, but overall, I like the app. I think it's really well done. I was on whether it's body weight training. What is it that you're really different? And start niche. Work with clients with niche apps, niche workout apps that have built, a 6-figure type of business. And so start niche. Don't be afraid of starting niche. That's all I would say. And then when you start niche, then when you're thinking about ads and paywalls, then start thinking through Apple search ads, Facebook ads. Just start small, right? We've had Lawrence a couple of weeks back ago. He's like, start with $10 a day. That's what I did. I started with $10 a day and just wanted to see what was there. And I know I've talked with bigger clients, like you got to spend at least $100 a day. So I'm of the mindset, like, do you like both strategies are right. Some bigger clients, like if you're not spending $100 a day, you don't have enough data. But I'm like, dude, I don't have $100. Maybe I don't have $100 this day to spend. I can say you can start with 10, start small, figure out some downloads, get some downloads, see if they start converting and really start optimizing that paywall and that user experience. Because with fitness apps, you can actually get away with being a hard paywall where there's no free content and everything is locked. I know you have some free content here, but you could also start thinking through that a little bit too, just doing a hard paywall. All right. What the other thing I don't understand is yeah, 14-day, 30-day. There's leg workouts. That's interesting too. Yeah, I think push out challenge, push up challenge, push up workouts. That's a keyword too. So I mean, this could literally be its own app. This push up stuff. Oh, here's the paywall. I
Looks
like
really
this
good.
actually. Yeah, I really like this. This paywall looks good. Don't put skip for now. Like, why make it so easy? Don't make it so easy for me to say no to you. I like it. Everything else looks.
Yeah,
This looks really good.
really solid app. You know.
Yeah, and I like how they have weeks. So, like what you said, Luke, about usually being kind of close to each other. I would try this out a little bit too, Tony. Where I like your weekly. I like the 3 months. Got no complaints. We've actually, Adaptee said that those two plans have a really high LTV, then put a yearly that is sort of close to it again. So maybe the yearly is like $40. Now you're like, all right, what do you want? Right? When we're here, we want to say no. When we're on a paywall, in my opinion, we want to say no. We don't want to pay. Right? Like we want to, there's always objections. Am I going to use this app? Am I really committed? Different from me just joining the gym. There's all these things that come up when I'm thinking about paying for something, but we love value. And so when you're thinking about the way you're presenting your paywall, you have to start thinking about, well, just a little bit more, you get a yearly, right? Or you have a monthly that's a decoy pricing that is $29.99. And so now the 3-month looks so much cooler. So play around with that. I like the 2 options, but the 2 options make it easy for me to say no to. Where options, you can have a decoy to your option that you want people to buy, make it so much more appealing. So I'm going to skip because you're making it so easily for now.
The only other thing
Right,
I'd
Tony?
add to
Hope that was
that is the 25% off. I think you should that should be screaming. That should be like a different color. It should be bigger. I think that's a big deal. The yearly over the weekly.
there's no difference, but this is free. Let me see. The 25% off.
Yeah, it's a
I didn't even
little.
know. Yeah. Like you could just put like 3 months down here and then put 25% off, make that as big as possible. But we know after a free trial, we get it. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to talk about here, Luke?
No.
Okay, we got some questions and then we'll say bye. All right, so let's get back into Ricardo's question. Ricardo, you got any dad jokes for me? I think you won that round, right, Luke? You won the dad joke round. So
No,
Ricardo says,
thanks.
for you personally, Luke, how long did it take you to learn Swift? And did you have any other experiences with any other coding languages?
Sure. Probably, I mean, I put together the proof of concept, the minimum viable product in like 4 months. But like I said, at that point, I was really just trying to learn how to take other pieces of things that people had put together, or like take a tutorial and, unravel how it worked and customize it in the way I wanted. So like a couple months of really, really digging into it and like trying tutorials through like educational courses I was purchasing and stuff like that. And then probably around like the second year, I was really getting back into like, okay, what is the way I'm supposed to be doing this? What are the best practices? How is the language evolving? And how do I make sure that I'm not doing work that I'm going to have to then undo and redo? The other question, what was the tail end of that?
Did, did you learn any? Did you try to learn any other languages?
Oh yeah, so that was the first one I learned. I had never done any software development before that. I messed around with MATLAB a little bit in engineering school, but that's nothing like this. It was just playing around with it, trial and error.
Mm-hmm. I'll ask question for you, Steve. Do you think things are changing with people paying more on Android now due to a lot of their phones being similar price to Apple? Yeah, but I still think that just from the data we have iOS users tend to pay more. So maybe it's coming close, but still not close enough for me to suggest anybody. Like if you're already doing well on iOS, like Lucas, then forget Android for now. Like just really start optimizing and scaling iOS because there's been enough people that I've talked to that are iOS only and built big businesses where I feel now I have talked to people who build decent businesses on Android only too. So it's not to say that it doesn't work on Android, but I would think about an ad model if I were building out on Android. Luke, do you spend any money on Apple search ads? Or is it just
It's
all
all organic.
organic right now?
All organic.
Okay.
At one point, I probably spent a couple $100s on search ads just to, test the waters and see and learn about it. Honestly, that's how you learn. So,
Mhm.
I didn't have a rock solid strategy, and more than anything else, I was finding that the keywords that I really wanted to target were just really expensive. So, like $2 or $3 a download is a lot to pay when the average amount you're making from your users overall is like $1. So obviously I could play with things. I could raise the price. I could, lock more features behind a paywall, but I didn't feel justified in doing that until I get everything else right. So
Let me see on because I thought your pricing was kind of low. So one of the things that I made a video out of this, but we do a competitive analysis. One of the things I like to do with the competitive analysis is kind of go through what other people are charging, Luke.
sure.
So like this is to-do list, to-do is. So tick,
Mm-hmm.
tick, tick. $30. All right, they're getting away with that. Let me pick out another. Is there one that you want me to look at? right here.
No, you can
And
talk
to
about
do
anything.
this, and
I definitely tried a higher price, with all else being equal, and I saw my revenues drop below what they were before. So
okay,
maybe, like I bumped it from like 20 to
so
$30 for the annual, which is, a very significant amount, 50% more, right? So, but the number of people following through and converting dropped by more than 50%. So I think that there's ways if you frame it a certain way, and if you use those tactics like saying, "Oh, well, it's worth $60 a year, but we'll give it to you for like 35 or something." I feel like that could be much more of a selling point. But just my little basic test, it seemed like I needed to do a little bit more finesse to sell it and get the revenues I wanted. One of my biggest competitors has their subscription ranked at $10 a month or $10 a
oh,
year, but their volumes are way higher than mine. So in terms of downloads and stuff like that, so I'm kind of in between people who are charging like very significantly higher annual rates and even lower than that to like really reduce the cost of entry to the point where it's like, oh, of course, $10, yeah, anyone will download and pay $10 a year. But I don't know, it's a game. We'll see.
yeah. Got some ideas for you too. Carl says, does Apple charge $3 per download? Just depends on the keyword, Carl. So that's what Luke was referring
Yeah,
to.
that's specifically for like if you want an ad to be shown to someone for, let's say, the word schedule planner, the phrase schedule planner, you will be paying $3 for every single person who downloads the app before they've done anything. So you need to be able to make more than $3 on average from every single person who downloads the app, or you need to be willing to spend money for some other end.
Ollie says, I can't believe that I put a reminder on this, but I still missed the beginning. Good morning. Well, you got the tail end of it, Ollie. All right. So I'm going to end with this, Luke. I'll give you a couple of suggestions that you can try out too.
Sure.
If you're going after certain keywords on here, I would just, if you're going to run search ads again, just focus in on those keywords. If it's easy enough, what we've been doing is creating custom product pages. I love this daily planning, simple. But let's say, for example, time blocking is a keyword that you want to really go after, then shoot,
Mhm.
put time blocking made simple, super big here. And then like now it's like break up your day in 15 to 20, 15 to 30, 60-minute slots and then integrate it with your calendar is the third screenshot. And we've been testing that to see the impact. I don't have any data right now to share back with you to see the impact on organic rankings and also like just conversions in general, right? Like, could I get a lower cost per install by having these custom product pages that speak specifically the feature and the keyword that I know people are searching for? So I put on exact match, create a custom product page with the screenshots that are talking about these features, and I'll have, once I have a month's worth of data across multiple clients, I'll be able to share that back with everybody. But that's one thing that you can do as well. So, anything else you
Sure.
want to talk about, Luke?
Nothing in particular. I really appreciate the
All right.
feedback, and thanks for having me.
Guys, go check it out. It is called TimeFinder. And then I believe if I got it right, if I remember it correctly, it's timefinderapp.net. Yep. So it's timefinderapp.net. If you got anything out of this, find a way to connect with Luke by going to timefinderapp.net. Say hi on Twitter, say hi on Instagram to him as well. Let him know you really enjoyed it and you got some momentum of your own by watching this stream. All right, Luke. Anything else you want to promote besides all the things I just said?
That's all for today. Thanks so much for
All right.
doing what you do, Steve.
Is there any you want to connect with? Do you want to, if the user wants to connect with, the audience wants to connect with you, you want to send them to Twitter? You want to send them to, where you want them to send them to? Your Twitter, your
The
LinkedIn?
best thing to do is leave me a positive review on the App Store or send me feedback
There you
from
go.
inside the app.
Sign up, pay for the app, put a positive review in there and help Luke out as well. That is the way to go. All right, guys. Next week, we're going to talk about retention and then some of the things we've been about intent-based conversions. How do you set up a mobile CRM? So we're going to break that all down because, as you know, subscriptions drive retention. But let's say you lose it because we're not going to, we're not going to convert everybody that sees that onboarding paywall. What else can we do? We're going to break that all down next week, every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. So there. If you're just listening on the podcast, or if you want to just listen to the audio version, just go to appmasters.com/iTunes, or, it's on your favorite podcast app, Spotify and all that jazz. All right. Thank you guys for joining. Joe, thank you. Tony, thank you. You guys. Luke says, thanks, chaps. And then I know Adrian had to go off, but he said, running back to work. We'll catch the rest later. Thanks a million, team. All right. That is it. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you next week.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Take care.